So I have spent about 2 weeks setting up my OpenClaw, and I have now figured out how to do it properly. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can fix your OpenClaw to make him act right. Um, there were so many instances where I was trying to have him create a landing page or create a dashboard, and we were just having issues. Till I figured out about the Soul.MD. So basically, if you don't know what your Soul.MD is, that basically tells OpenClaw everything that he should be doing and all the rules not to break. So if you see you're fast, honest, careful, you execute with excellence, there's all these different agent rules, agent operating limits. So, you know, if you let OpenClaw do whatever it wants, it will start to spin up multiple agents and just say, oh, well, the task failed, so let me spin up another agent. It will stray off very easily. And now I have figured out why that is because you have to actually go in there and write in the Soul.MD, and you have to give them solid rules. You have to give them solid guidelines. My Soul.MD has so much stuff in there, like this: if the same command fails twice, stop retrying and report the failure. Now, what happens is usually they'll just sit there trying to, keep trying it and wasting your tokens. And that's why you pay so much for tokens. If you see here, I already spent $143 on tokens in OpenAI, spent another 200 on Claude, and so I completely have a whole new setup that I just figured out that I like. I'm using OpenAI 4.1 MIDI through OpenRouter, actually. It seems like they're just a lot cheaper to work with. If you see here, for the whole month so far, I mean, I've only been using it for like 4 days, but in 4 days, I spent $3, and I'm doing a lot of different things. Now, I was paying so much money with Claude, with Haiku, with Opus. You see 85 million tokens costing me $3, which is not bad. I was trying all these different models. Step 3.5 Flash is another one I use for a fallback, which is actually really good, but it had some hiccups with creative writing for Shopify descriptions. It wasn't that good. We were using Minimax M 2.5 as well, and Moonshot AI. Now I have these all routed for different agents. So my analytics agent uses 4.1 mini and probably Step Fun, I believe, or Moonshot. And then my marketing agent uses 4.1 mini and then also uses Kimmy for a fallback. And then I also have Claude in there if I manually need to tell them, look, the output you're giving me is not good. Let's switch to Claude. That's the way to go, because if you give these agents carte blanche access to all your APIs, and if one of these APIs don't work, or if you're using a Docker like most of these VPSs sell you with Hostinger, you're gonna run into issues where if the one you think you picked didn't really go, it's just gonna go to the next one it wants, and it usually defaults to either Claude Opus or to ChatGPT 5.4, which is the most expensive ones to use. And for everything you're doing with your heartbeats, with your check-ins, you're paying a lot of money just to talk to the thing, to say, hey, how are we doing on our progress? If you see this day was $10 just on one day, but I was using Claude as well. So I think I paid like $25 total a day. You do that by 30, you're looking at, $700 to $800 roughly if you start expanding and getting multiple agents. So this has been a super amazing setup for me. And then also, there's a lot of rules that nobody tells you about that you need to set up. as far as agent concurrency. So the agent, your main agent doesn't keep spawning up too many agents. If it does that, then you're going to be paying so much money. One of the other things is also your routing config of how you have every agent routed to different models and setting it up properly to say, okay, the the YouTube scraper agent, he can do that with the step with the free because it's a very easy task, right? It's a very cut and dry, black and white. When it comes to creative writing, then yeah, you might want to use 4.1 mini, you might want to use GPT-5, you might want to use something else. I like to, now at the point that I'm in, I like to kind of dial in to see what they're getting with these. And if I don't like the output, then I'll say, hey, let's switch to Claude, right? Another setting people don't know about in your Soul.MD, and also you have to set this up in OpenClaw itself, is loop protection. So loop protection, again, it helps you from not going in these constant loops of the agent not figuring it out. It says here if the task exceeds 10 minutes, must use a checkpoint system. So he has to ask me, hey, this is where we are right now in the current step, and what do you want to do? If the same command fails twice, you stop and you report the failure. Maximum run time per task 8 minutes. Long jobs must checkpoint progress and stop, because I was telling it like, hey, let's go out and do this job, and then it say, yeah, I'm right on it, I got you. And then he'd either say, okay, I finished the job and the work wasn't done, or he just disappeared when I wake up the next morning and I'd say, hey, so what happened with our mission control job? And he said, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So, why don't you tell me? Without all these different kind of rules in there in your routing configs and in your Soul.MD, and my Soul.MD is huge. I can't go into the full thing. I'm giving you a little snippet right here. You can see, but you definitely need to add these in to your OpenClaw. Another great one is 15-minute context. So what happens is if your context window is 1 hour, you're going to pay higher for each token pool and each chat, because the cache on it is going to be incredibly long, incredibly large, and you're just going to be stuck, paying for that context, when if you set this up right, he can be just reporting that and recording it in the memory and in the Soul.MD. So when he does need to reference it, you can say, hey, read your Soul.MD or read the memory again. And, so you understand what I'm talking about. And that has been, what has taken my account from spending, $140 every couple of days to spending, $3 a day. So I hope that helps. You can Google or you can use ChatGPT to ask them, hey, how do I, really pay less for my OpenClaw? And you'd be so surprised on the tips and the tools and the tricks that it gives you. And just getting all your rules in there for your agent to become a better agent with your Soul.MD. It's been so different. I mean, tasks are actually getting done. He's actually going in and debugging. He's asking me. He's not just overwriting containers and messing up the whole config. And, I just go back to Telegram and check, and he's just down. And then I have to ask Claude how to fix him. Putting these rules in there is really amazing. And also creating cron jobs for backups and all those things. Make sure you don't ignore that. And I hope this video has helped you. If you have any questions, just DM me, comment. I'm going to be checking all the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. This is all about AI. We are moving into a whole new future, and I have a whole bunch of tools and guides coming out. And if you need help setting up your OpenClaw, I do have a company called Cognival.co, and we do all that for you. Okay, have a good one.